Here's your wrestling news for November 11th, 2020. And your headlines for today include: is WWE bringing back a recently released superstar? Shocking revelation after images from AEW's video game site leaked. Vince McMahon opens up about Tyson Kidd return. Did WWE quietly turn Braun Strowman babyface on Raw? Current WWE stars' sons are all set to debut for AEW. Cody Rhodes wants to leave pro wrestling and run for Senate. Rey Mysterio reveals when he plans to retire from WWE. Pronunciation of Mustafa Ali's name is creating major news. WWE eyeing baseball stadium for new television home, and more. We are kicking off today with trademark news, as WWE raised a lot of eyebrows when they recently filed a trademark for the term "The Way." Now though, Fightful is reporting that this trademark is actually for former superstar No Way Jose, who was released from WWE back in April. Jose has been working on the indies under the name Levy Valnez, and with him being well liked both in NXT and the main roster, it's entirely possible that WWE is bringing him back. If so, this would make Jose one of a tiny group who have been brought back, as Drake Maverick found a way back after his release, and it'll be interesting to see what he'll do if he returns. With Finn Balor and Ember Moon both returning to NXT in the past year, it's possible Jose could return to NXT if he's brought back, and given his poor showing on the main roster, that may be for the best. AEW news next, as the company promised a big announcement, but it seems at least part of their announcement was leaked before they announced it. We previously reported that AEW planned on announcing multiple titles, but thanks to Reddit user Stone Pitbulls, who posted screenshots, fans knew what the games were before they were confirmed. The 3 games leaked include an AEW console game in production with Yuke's, All Elite GM, and AEW Casino Double or Nothing. In the announcement, it was confirmed that Elite GM and Double or Nothing will both be mobile titles, whilst the Yuke's game will be on consoles. Fans will remember Yuke's as developing a ton of games for WWE, including favorites like WWF No Mercy, Here Comes the Pain, and the SmackDown vs. Raw series, as well as wrestling games outside WWE like Wrestle Kingdom and Rumble Roses. Now it seems that the developer is adding AEW to the resume, and whilst Kenny Omega had admitted to being a little nervous about this huge announcement, it seems everything went well, despite the games being leaked before the announcement. Now, Tyson Kidd's career ended when a Samoa Joe muscle buster went the wrong way, but he didn't leave the WWE entirely. Now working as a backstage producer, there are still some fans who hope to see Kidd return, and according to the man himself, he did have a plan to make that happen. Speaking on the New Day's Feel the Power podcast, Kidd spoke about returning during a Royal Rumble match, saying that it'd be a nice way to write the final chapter of his career in the ring. He added, "I thought, what better way than the Royal Rumble in terms of I wouldn't have to get slammed, I already showed Finn Balor how to get eliminated, so I know I can get over the top rope." Knowing that his participation was possible, Kidd took his idea to Vince, who asked how quickly did the Canadian need an answer. Not only did Kidd tell the chairman that he wasn't in a rush, he even said that though he was presenting this idea just 4 weeks before the 2019 Rumble in Phoenix, he would have been happy to wait until the 2020 show. Kidd added, "He called me one day and said they put a lot of thought into it and that we would try to control everything on our end, but what if something outside of our realm were to happen and it were to undo all of the good that has happened over the last 2 years? In terms of me being a producer and physically I do feel very, very good, and his thought was, why risk that?" Though Kidd had taken measures to ensure the company would keep him safe, he realized that he couldn't control everything, as something like a fan jumping the railing to push him could have caused serious damage to his neck. It's interesting that Kidd thought this whilst the boss was breaking the bad news, as something similar happened months later at the Hall of Fame. Some dude slides in and takes Brett and Natty down, and I was like, oh my god, this is almost like what I envisioned happening to me, and I remember taking that as a sign like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yes, it would be cool if I could write the final page of my in-ring career, that chapter, but I can't. It's too bad that WWE never approved a return by Kidd, though we understand why they'd be hesitant, but that hasn't stopped fans wanting one more match for him, even if it's just a cameo. Raw news next, as Braun Strowman was recently brought to the Red brand in the draft, but that's not the only change for the former Universal Champion. PW Insider are noting that though Strowman was flipped heel during his SmackDown feud with Bray Wyatt, and even deliberately low-blowed Keith Lee a few weeks back, he's now being considered a face behind the scenes. It's unclear what storyline reasons there are for Strowman to turn face, though him saying that AJ Styles is not their team captain definitely helped. And being a face could open a whole lot more doors for Strowman, especially if the heel Randy Orton remains WWE Champion. Back to AEW, as this week's edition of AEW Dark saw a huge debut for two growing names in wrestling. On the show, Terrence and Terrell Hughes, aka TNT, made their AEW debut, and though they came up short against Chaos Project, it was still an impressive showing. Fans may know TNT better for their Hall of Fame father, as both men were trained by Devon Dudley, and after such a high-profile match, this may not be the last time TNT enter an AEW ring. From an AEW debut to the company's cornerstone, as Cody Rhodes has done plenty in wrestling, but already has plans after retirement. Speaking to Bleacher Report, Cody discussed possible political aspirations for life after he steps away from the ring, saying, "I'm 35 and said I only want to wrestle for 5 more years. I have political aspirations. I would love to run for the Senate in the great state of Georgia. I want to help with the sphere of influence I've created. I always say if you do the work, it'll pay off." Born in Marietta, Georgia, Cody could be a formidable voice in politics, and his established celebrity status could help him along the way. But for now, Rhodes is set on building AEW both in and out of the ring. Back to WWE, and though Vince Russo hasn't worked on Monday Night Raw in decades, he still seemingly has sources in the USA Network, and they're painting a bleak picture for Vince McMahon. According to Russo, Raw is no longer a high priority to USA, and that this new mentality could hinder WWE's chances at extending their current deal with the network. With that said, Russo did say WWE will find another network, or sucker as he called them, who'll believe they're buying The Rock and Steve Austin when the ratings tell a different story. With the Red Brand's ratings already being poor before 2020 and suffering even more during the current situation, it's entirely possible that the network has lost faith in Raw, though whether that means WWE will be moving to a new channel remains to be seen. Impact Wrestling news now, as James Storm is back with the company. After returning during Bound for Glory's Call Your Shot Battle Royal, Storm confirmed his return more recently as he's teaming with Chris Sabin, given that Alex Shelley is injured. We'll have to see how the two former world champions coexist, and though Storm was apparently close to returning to WWE around WrestleMania, and we don't have details on any contract by Impact for the Cowboy, it seems he's here to stay in Impact Wrestling. Back to WWE, as Rey Mysterio is a veteran of WWE, currently appearing on SmackDown, but he knows his days in the ring are numbered. Recently, Rey and Dominic sat down with Lillian Garcia for her Chasing Glory podcast on the network and spoke about his retirement plans 5 years from now. He said, "I'll be 45 in December, and I don't see myself going past 50, that's for sure. My body feels great right now. I've been doing new methods of therapy, stem cells, hyperbaric chambers, cryo chambers, CBDs, a lot of the things that benefit me. I think that has given me more longevity." A 30-year veteran, Rey has worked in promotions such as WWE, WCW, ECW, Lucha Underground, AAA, and New Japan. But when asked if he wants to retire in WWE, the former world champion made things clear. "Definitely yes. Once you enter here, you can't go any higher than this. This is where I've always envisioned myself finishing my career." This will seemingly erase any hope from fans about Rey in AEW, and given that he just signed a new 3-year deal with WWE, he's going to be with Vince McMahon until he's at least 48. It's practically guaranteed that Rey will receive the Hall of Fame nod when he steps away from the ring, and with Rey planning to retire by 50 if not earlier, that nod may be coming sooner than fans think. Over to Raw, and though this week's episode promised a moment of bliss with special guest Drew McIntyre, that didn't take place. Instead, Alexa Bliss appeared in a segment where she chose The Fiend over her friend Nikki Cross, and PW Insider are reporting that McIntyre was a victim of the script changing around. With a different talk show segment Miz TV booked instead, a moment of bliss was simply cut from the show. And with a WWE title match set for next week between Randy Orton and McIntyre, it'll be interesting to see how this match goes, with The Fiend's presence weighing on both men. Now, Mustafa Ali recently angered some fans by explaining how to pronounce his name, and now Tom Phillips is feeling this anger too. This week, Phillips revealed a message he received from a fan who claimed that he was pronouncing Ali's name wrong, though Tom did censor some of the colorful language the fan chose to include. Responding, Phillips said that he was pronouncing Ali's name the way that Retribution's leader had requested, and added that everyone wants their name to be pronounced correctly. Phillips even included this conversation in a tweet, which Mustafa Ali quickly retweeted, showing everyone how his name should be enunciated. Just last week, a fan said that fans can call Ali whatever name they choose, saying, "This is America." And whilst some fans may feel this way, Phillips is clearly going to pronounce Ali's name correctly on WWE programming. Now, we previously covered how WWE must leave the Amway Center by December 5th, and now we have a greater idea on where they'll be going next. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed that the company is considering the Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, which would certainly be big enough for screens or even socially distanced fans. Tropicana Field isn't without its issues, however, as the number of times the power went out at the park during baseball games may be a sticking point for WWE. Of course, Tropicana Field is just one of several locations the company will be considering, and with WWE wanting to try something different for January's Royal Rumble, it may be a matter of time before WWE is calling the baseball stadium home. And we're ending today with tribute to the troops, as WWE's special last year never made it to air, but now that may change. According to the PW Insider, there's talks within WWE about hosting another Troops show, which will be filmed similar to the events WWE have held between 2013 and 2018. WWE has hosted their Tribute to the Troops events both in the US and overseas since the very first of its kind back in 2003. And whilst it'd be good to see the troops get a special treat this Christmas, it all rests on how the current situation proceeds.